it's busy. I'm out in the woods next to my house. This tree is one of my best producers normally for sap. However, take the bucket off. Nothing in it. There's been nothing in it for days. As you can see, I'm out here. I've only got this shirt on because I'm not working, but if I'm working out here, I'm fine with just jeans and a t-shirt. It's just been really warm, and the warm is really making it difficult for anybody that wants to make maple syrup. Now, I did take notes on this subject because this is all something that I've had to learn myself. It's something that's completely new for me, and I wasn't sure that I'd be able to remember everything, but I wanted to talk about the science behind making maple syrup. To understand the process behind it, you need to understand the trees themselves first. First things that trees need is water. Water, of course, is coming from underground, comes from rain and whatnot. Too much water, the tree dies. Too little water, the tree dies. The wrong type of water, for instance, if trees in salt water that can't stay in salt water, it dies. They've had a problem with that when there's been various hurricanes and whatnot that push the salt water inland. It can kill the trees along the coast. So, that's the first thing that the trees need. Now, trees, of course, do not eat other organisms, which we can be very thankful of. Quite truthful, it'd be a bit scary if the trees were kind of like a Venus flytrap. Imagine walking through the woods and they reach out and grab you to eat you. Yeah, not good. Instead, they undergo a process called photosynthesis. Now, of course, well, this is a oak leaf. I don't see any maple here right now, but your leaf is very necessary for photosynthesis. You cannot see them because they're little teeny bitty tiny, but there's little pores called stomata on the leaves. These stomata open. When they open, they pull in carbon dioxide, but at the same time, they're also releasing water. This is a process called I can never pronounce this right, transpiration. And if this can actually be helpful if you have a low-lying area that's constantly getting flooded, have trees that can grow in that type of environment or other plants, and they can help keep that area from getting filled with water if you don't want it. So it pulls in the CO2, carbon dioxide, which it then transforms into a sugar. Okay. And this sugar is converted to a starch, and it's stored in the branches, trunk, and roots of the tree so it can be used later. So, but when this water escapes, it leaves behind a void, and more water is pulled up. And the water goes up in the tree through cells that are called the xylem. They flow back down through what's called the phloem. I always remembered it as phloem down instead of phloem fill them up, but that's just my way of remembering it. Now, within the tree itself, there's what's called ray cells. If you were to cut a tree down and you look at it, you have your inner part of the tree. The dead wood around the xylem and the living cells, that's where these starches are stored. And can't read my writing, but these are all stored in the tree. And fall comes, winter comes, tree freezes, nothing's really flowing. Comes spring, it releases an enzyme. This enzyme converts to starches that have been stored into a sugar, and the sugars are now free to move around in the tree. They're yelling, I'm free, I'm free! And they go up the xylem, up into the branches of the tree, where it's converted back to sugar, and these sugars is what's used for making the new leaves grow. Now, majority of trees, the ray cells are filled with water, but not maples. They are filled with a gas. Now, this is where I really need the notes because otherwise I'm going to get this all confused. When the tree freezes, the sap will freeze and expand. The gas in the race cells condenses and a frost-containing sugar forms. This creates a negative pressure, so more sap is pulled up from the roots. When the tree thaws out, the sugar re-enters the cells and the gas-filled cells expand, causing a positive pressure, so the sap starts flowing up the tree again. Now, if you have ever parked underneath of a maple tree in the springtime, you know that you can come out and there's a sticky substance. The sap is all flowing all onto your tree. Any little opening in this tree is going to be an escape route for the sap, which is why we drill the hole, because that's giving it an escape route. I can see here it looks like there was a crack in this area. That would be a space for it to flow out. You prune the tree, sap's going to flow out there. So that's the sap is flowing. It gets cold, and the cycle starts all over again. This year has been abnormally warm. So because of that, we have not been getting the freeze-thaw cycle. And I tried to find some to show you, but unfortunately it's all up too high, and I doubt even if I were to point the camera up, you'd even be able to see it. The red maples are starting to go through bud swell, basically. The buds are starting to swell a little bit. Looks like they're thinking about starting to flower. Once the trees get to that point, one of two things is going to happen. The tree is just going to stop putting out the sap, or the sap that it does put out won't have quite that right taste to it. And most people at that point in time will pull the spiles. They're done for the year. Now, there is a way to expand your season, providing the weather's right. That will be a topic of another video. But I hope that you've learned something from this video, and if you have any questions, please ask, and I'll do my best to answer them. So I will talk at you later.